I don't know how exactly I discovered that in life I would have been a writer. Of course, I know it. I was very young. I had just learned to read and write, and I discovered that words allowed me to create worlds and friends that by writing I could finally fix on paper so as not to lose them in the midst of time. I like to invent new stories, even if many years I passed before. If even if many years passed before I was able to write them professionally and to write about them professionally and see them live as if they were creatures in flesh and blood. I don't know how to be defined. I don't know how to become a professional writer, but I hope that one day I can become one in all respects because writing for me is a job to which I have sacrificed my whole life. Often, when I say that I'm a writer, people seem to consider it a hobby and they immediately ask me, okay, but what is your real job? For me, writing encompasses all the works in the world. Because to be a good writer, you need to know a little more than books. To be a good writer, you need to know a little more than all the other workers in the world. And you have to know all the topics you intend to deal with it in your books. I don't only write stories and fiction, but also essays, poems, plays. Um, I love to experiment with new styles, and I am never tired of learning from the literary world of today and on yesterday. I don't write books because I like it or because I have chosen to make literature my to write about literature. I simply need to write because my mind is constantly full of new stories, new characters, new compositional ideas. The creative process that leads the artist to invent a new artistic work includes the obligation to translate into words, or in any case, or into a sensitive manifestation, what bursts in his head, and which must be as absolutely be shown to the world. The more the product of one's art involves and the spectators and readers and shows himself immediately perceptible in its universality of concept and composition, the more the work itself will overcome the word itself and the centuries in which it was written, and it will allow its author to reach the heights of a world fame. I do not delude myself into becoming famous one day. However, I hope to have a small audience of fans who will make me feel less alone and ignored in this great planet. Usually, the most successful plots of my novels come to mind when I sleep. Come to my mind when I sleep. I have very vivid dreams, often frightening, but also exciting, which allow me to have the plot of the whole book ready to write it. It is as if there were magical creatures that told me what I had to write, and that forced me to follow their advice to be able to complete the meaning of my existence. I've been writing continuously for 10 years and I have produced more than 40 works of fiction and non-fiction. I especially like writing of short stories because so I can focus on the invention and the brilliance of exhibition, but I have also produced more than a dozen novels in which I have focused on the development of the characters and the nuances of the psychology of the protagonists. For me, each book is like a long journey from which I always return tried and tried, but with and exhausted, but with the awareness of having accomplished something beautiful, and that perhaps the gratitude of one of my publisher will be worth it, and perhaps it will get the gratitude of one of my publisher in the future. It was not easy to get to know the publishing houses which then trusted me. The first few years, many publishers asked me for money and to publish my books, but I always refused, not thinking that I myself had to pay for my creative and compositional efforts. However, it was easy enough to find some small online publishers to finance the publication of the books. Although, unfortunately, I have never gained almost anything. Nowadays, an unnerving marketing activity is needed to promote their works, one owns works, and this is impossible for me because I do not attend the outside world and I have many problems speaking in public. How, However, there have been many people who have appreciated my works, and I hope that in the future more and more readers will send me their support. The biggest problem is to make myself known to the general public, and if I had the money, I would pay a literary agent to help me in this field. Who knows, maybe I could start saving some money to invest in my work. What do you think? I would love to let you read something of mine. But unfortunately, translating a work from Italian would take too much time and effort. I then don't think I'm able to do it. So thank you for now for listening to me.